Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the UP International Trade Show 2025. The government's resolve of Make in India and Vocal for Local set to gain new momentum. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov says Europe-Ukraine prolonging conflict. In a meeting with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the UNGA, Rubio reiterates Moscow must take meaningful steps towards durable resolution of the conflict. Detainee killed, 2 injured in a sniper attack on US immigration facility. Donald Trump accuses radical left of inciting violence against immigration officers. And in sports, India storms into Asia Cup final unbeaten. Defending champions will face the winner of Thursday's clash between Bangladesh and Pakistan. The stage is set for Uttar Pradesh's biggest business event of its kind. Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the 3rd edition of Uttar Pradesh International Trade Show at the Greater Noida Expo Mart on Thursday. The 5-day event promises to connect local artisans, entrepreneurs and industries with national and global markets. DD India's Dibindu Mondal reports.
The Uttar Pradesh International Trade Show opens on 25th September at the sprawling Expo Mart in Greater Noida. Spread across 2,200 stalls, the event will bring together artisans, MSMEs, handloom and textile producers, and industrial houses from across the state. This edition is expected to be bigger than before, with over 2,200 exhibitors and participation from more than 80 countries. The last edition had generated business worth 2,000 crore rupees, and this year's trade show aims to surpass that benchmark. Russia is the partner country this year, with 30 companies showcasing their products and services. An India-Russia business dialogue is also scheduled, where energy, power and banking sectors are likely to dominate discussions. The Uttar Pradesh government is using this platform to highlight investment opportunities, technological advancements and research potential. Several departments have set up dedicated pavilions to attract investors and showcase growth prospects in the state.
पहला राज्य उत्तर प्रदेश है जो अपना ट्रेड शो का आयोजन करता है और उत्तर प्रदेश इसमें आगे आया है। तीसरा ट्रेड शो का ये सफल कार्यक्रम आयोजित हो रहा है। निश्चित तौर पर हम मानते हैं कि हमारे जितने भी उद्यमी हैं, हस्तशिल्पी हैं, कारीगर हैं, जिनके उत्पाद को एक बड़ा मार्केट देने का काम हमारी उत्तर प्रदेश की सरकार कर रही है और इस बार हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी इस कार्यक्रम की शुभारंभ करने आ रहे हैं। निश्चित तौर पर इस ट्रेड शो से पूरे प्रदेश के उद्यमियों को नई पहचान, नई उड़ान और नया व्यापार का एक प्लेटफॉर्म मिलेगा, जहां पर 80 से अधिक देशों के लोग भी आ रहे हैं। बड़ा ये 5 दिन लगातार चलेगा। बहुत सारी तैयारी के साथ ये कार्यक्रम किया जा रहा है।
To make the event more accessible, the government has launched a dedicated trade show app for better navigation, information and coordination. Organizers expect around 5 lakh visitors to walk through the expo during the 5 days. From handicrafted artistry to cutting-edge technology, the Uttar Pradesh International Trade Show is set to be a confluence of tradition and modern enterprise. With global participation and massive footfall expected, the event is poised to give Uttar Pradesh a bigger role in India's growth story. From Greater Noida, Dibindu Mondal's report for DD India.
And India's Akshay Dongre joins us from Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Akshay, this is the third UP International Trade Show, and each time it gets bigger and better. To tell us the major features of this year's UP International Trade Show.
Well, it's taking place in the sprawling, International Expo of Greater Noida, Tanvi, where, thousands of artisans, MSME industry people are going to converge at the same spot. So this is going to be sort of a Mahakumbh of of the industry, especially the small, the medium, even the large enterprises. Builders, manufacturers, people from all across the country will be, coming here, converging here, and in a way, it will be a confluence of business. And it's not just going to be an India-centric affair. It's there are people and participation from about 80 countries as far as this expo is concerned. The partner nation is Russia, and major point of talking will be banking sector, manufacturing, and other kind of collaborations that the two countries can do. The vision that has been seen by the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh to make Uttar Pradesh a $1 trillion economy, like Mahakumbh played a major role in that. This Mahakumbh of industry and enterprise will, play a key role in catapulting the UP's economy to that, magic figure.
Okay, Akshay, also talk to us about the, unique craftsmanship of Uttar Pradesh's artisans that are bringing the ancient crafts like, Firozabad glasswork or Bidohi carpets at the world stage here.
Well, there have been attempts of doing this for years now, Tanvi. Geotagging, GI tagging that has been done to ensure that the artisans from across the country, not just from the urban areas, but the rural areas as well, get recognition not only in India, but across the world. GI tagging has been done for a very long time, and this is just one of the aspects of the show that's going to take place here today. But, the larger picture is about 2,200 exhibitors that are going to converge here with industry partners coming in from all over the country and across the world. So this is going to be a major affair as far as, India's manufacturing might is concerned, and the growing industry in different sectors are concerned. And as you rightly mentioned, these kind of specific sort of art and crafts that are popular in local areas, if they go worldwide, they can place India's craftsmanship, these artisans on a global map. So that is going to be one of the objective of this mega expo as well, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi being the inaugurating this expo, for the next 4 or 5 days. This is going to be a hub of, or rather a confluence of the industries from all across the country and the world as well, to find new customers, a new manufacturing base, and with the support of the government of Uttar Pradesh as well.
Okay, Akshay, finally, a very quick word on Russia participating in the trade show as the partner country.
Well, like I mentioned, Tanvi, it is, you have partner countries every year. This is the third edition, and this edition, Russia is going to be the partner, and there are going to be all sort of sectors where the two countries will explore collaboration in manufacturing and in other areas as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Akshay Dongre, as we all stand by for Prime Minister to arrive there and inaugurate this UP International Trade Expo. Moving on now, aimed at showcasing India's strengths in the food processing sector, food sustainability and the production of nutritious and organic food, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in World Food India 2025 at around 6:15 p.m. Indian Standard Time at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The 4-day event will have multiple thematic sessions covering a wide range of topics, including India as a global food processing hub, sustainability and net zero in food processing frontiers in food processing, India's pet food industry, processed foods for nutrition and health, plant-based foods, nutraceuticals, specialty foods, among others. It will feature 14 pavilions, each dedicated to specific themes, and will attract around 100,000 visitors. It will also showcase 21 exhibiting countries along with 150 international participants. At the World Food India, credit-linked support of over 770 crore rupees will be provided to around 26,000 beneficiaries for micro-projects in food processing sector worth over 2,510 crore rupees under the Pradhan Mantri Formalization of Micro Food Processing Enterprises scheme. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired the 49th meeting of Pragati, the ICT-enabled multimodal platform for proactive governance and timely implementation. During the meeting, the Prime Minister reviewed 8 critical infrastructure projects across sectors. These sectors include mining, railways, water resources, industrial corridors and power. These projects span 15 states and union territories, stretching across the country with a cumulative investment of over 65,000 crore rupees. Prime Minister Modi urged officials at both the centre and state level to adopt a result-oriented approach, translating opportunities into improved quality of life for people while also advancing the goals of ease of living for citizens and ease of doing business for entrepreneurs. Prime Minister Modi urged all states and union territories to place strong emphasis on reforms aimed at improving competitiveness, strengthening efficiency and fostering innovation across sectors, and stressed that better preparedness through these reforms would enable us to swiftly seize emerging opportunities. The Pragati platform brings together the centre and states to fast-track major projects, address bottlenecks and ensure time-bound delivery. Moving on now to the U.S. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar hosted the Forum for Indo-Pacific Islands Cooperation Foreign Ministers meeting in New York. He noted the 12-point action plan announced by Prime Minister Modi at this summit, which is progressing well. The plan was announced in a range of areas, including healthcare, renewable energy, cybersecurity, as PM had announced that India is ready to share its capabilities with the region without any hesitation. So during this event, Forum for Indo-Pacific Islands Cooperation Foreign Ministers meeting, Jaishankar acknowledged that India and Pacific Island countries are development partners and their agenda is people-centric, focused on health, technology, capacity building and training. On the sidelines of this meeting, Jaishankar met Prime Minister of Tonga, Palau Ministry of State and Solomon Islands, Tuvalu Marshall Islands, Cyprus, Mexico's counterparts. The leaders agreed to build on recent exchanges and create a fresh roadmap for strengthening bilateral ties. India and Australia signed the Mutual Recognition Arrangement for Organic Products, simplifying the compliance requirements and creating new opportunities for the farmers and exporters. The products under the MRA include unprocessed plant products, excluding seaweed, aquatic plants, and greenhouse crops and processed foods composed of one or more ingredients of plant origin. India's organic exports to Australia reached $8.96 million in fiscal year 2024-25, with a total export volume of 2,781.58 metric tons, led by psyllium husk, coconut milk and rice. The government is committed to make India as the organic food basket of the world, and the MRA is a major step in that direction. It is expected to boost India's organic exports further by reducing barriers, ensuring certification equivalence and supporting more organic products and producers. You're watching the India NewsHour. Still to come on the show. Donald Trump demands probe into triple sabotage after the escalator, teleprompter and sound failures at his UNGA speech. World leaders set new emission targets at the UN summit as Guterres urges much faster climate action. And world's most powerful tropical cyclone this year, Typhoon Ragasa, bears down southern China.
issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Reaffirming their resolve to solve the growing tension between the two conflicting nations, Russia and Ukraine, Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov met U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the UNGA. Top Russian diplomat Lavrov said that Kiev and European countries were to blame for prolonging the conflict in Ukraine. He stressed the unacceptability of the schemes promoted by Kiev and some European capitals aimed at prolonging the conflict. Rubio, on the other hand, reiterated President Trump's call for the killing to stop and the need for Moscow to take meaningful steps towards a durable resolution of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So amid the growing tensions between Russia and Ukraine, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he was ready to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin anywhere except Moscow, while Russia responded by naming Istanbul as the preferred venue for potential talks. Zelensky made the statement during his visit to the United States. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told Russian media that Putin is open to a meeting with Zelensky, but cautioned that without thorough preparation, it would be essentially a PR stunt doomed to fail. Peskov also noted that Kiev is not interested in Moscow's proposal to set up working groups to facilitate negotiations. US President Donald Trump demanded an investigation into what he called triple sabotage after an escalator, teleprompter and sound system all malfunctioned as he addressed the United Nations. In a long, angry social media post, Trump described the string of mishaps as very sinister, called for people to be arrested and said that the Secret Service was also probing. Trump also demanded an immediate investigation into all these incidents. Footage showed the President and First Lady Melania Trump getting on the escalator at the UN headquarters on Tuesday before it stopped with a lurch, forcing them to walk up. Then, as Trump began his speech, he noted that his teleprompter was not working. He spent much of the rest of the speech bashing the world body. Trump then complained that his teleprompter for his speech was stone cold dark for the first 15 minutes and that the sound in the UN auditorium was completely off. Although the UN has said that the events that happened while Trump was at its headquarters in New York on Tuesday were accidental and partly blamed them on the White House staff. Global challenges such as institutional reforms and geopolitical conflicts took center stage as world leaders convened at the United Nations headquarters in New York for the 80th UN General Assembly high-level debate. Prominent voices called for a more inclusive and representative multilateral system as the world grapples with mounting crises and power shifts. From calls to reform the UN Security Council to key leadership announcements. Our next report examines the general debate in detail.
Calls for reform, including the United Nations Security Council and heightened emphasis on multilateralism, were the highlights of the second day at the 80th UN General Assembly in New York, being attended by leaders from across the world. In his address to the UNGA General Debate, Spain's King Don Felipe II talked about the need to advance reform initiatives through dialogue and consensus building.
We continue to believe in the need to advance reform initiatives, and we offer our capacity for dialogue and consensus building, as well as our firm multilateral conviction in this endeavour.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in his address to the UN General Assembly, said that the world was living through the most destructive arms race in human history. He also accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of seeking to continue his war by expanding it beyond Ukraine.
None of these would have happened if Putin had not started this full-scale aggression, full-scale war. And we told you before, Ukraine is only the first, and now Russian drones are already flying across Europe, and Russian operations are already spreading across countries, and Putin wants to continue this war by expanding it.
Earlier, Chile on Tuesday put forth its former president Michelle Bachelet as a candidate to replace UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, whose term ends next year. Addressing the UN General Assembly, Chilean President Gabriel Boric said 73-year-old Bachelet was the perfect choice.
Un tremendo honor.
To me, it's a tremendous honor to announce from here that Chile will nominate our former President Michelle Bachelet Jeria as candidate for the Secretary General of the United Nations.
With urgent discussions on global conflicts and new leadership nominations like Chile's Michelle Bachelet for UN Secretary General, the Assembly underscored the need for collective action to address pressing global challenges. Bureau Report, DD India.
More from the United States. In the Texas city of Dallas, a detainee was killed and 2 were wounded in a sniper attack on a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that the gunman who opened fire on the ICE field office from the roof of a nearby building died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The shooter's precise motive was still under investigation, but the FBI said that he appears to have been directly targeting the ICE, the agency chiefly responsible for carrying out President Trump's pledge to expel millions of undocumented migrants from the U.S. The gunman's name has not been released by the authorities, but multiple media reports identified him as Joshua Jan, 29 years old. A photo has emerged of the suspect. The photo dating back to 2016 stemmed from an offence the suspect committed a year earlier. The ICE facility where the shooting occurred processes detainees before they are transferred to a long-term detention centre. FBI Director Kash Patel posted a photo on X of the suspect's unspent shell casings that showed one with the words anti-ICE written on it. Reacting to the shooting, President Trump, in a post on Truth Social, blamed the attack on radical left Democrats, constantly demonizing, constantly demonizing law enforcement, calling for ICE to be demolished and comparing ICE officers to the Nazis. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance on Wednesday compared the attack on an Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office in Dallas to the recent shooting of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, calling both acts disgusting political violence.
I said Charlie Kirk's assassination was the most political and disgusting violence that we've had in this country in the last couple of weeks, and that was true maybe until this morning. Because I don't know if you all have followed the news, and we're still learning a little bit about it, but what we know is that in Dallas, Texas, an ICE facility, an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility, was opened fire upon by a violent left-wing extremist, a person who wrote anti-ICE messaging on their bullets, and there's some evidence that we have that's not yet public, but we know this person was politically motivated.
On to Sudan now. A drone strike on a market in the country's besieged city of El Fasher killed 15 people. The local resistance committees, activists who coordinate aid and document atrocities in the Sudan conflict, called the strike a massacre and accused the paramilitary rapid support forces of carrying it out. The RSF is currently waging its fiercest assault yet in an attempt to seize El Fasher, which it has besieged since May last year. As the humanitarian situation in the city worsened, the unrest which broke out between the RSF and the regular army in April 2023 has killed tens of thousands of people and forced millions from their homes. Costa Rica reopened its airspace after a power outage forced a nationwide closure for at least 5 hours, disrupting flights across the country. The outage, which hit radar systems early on Wednesday, brought all air traffic to a halt and affected both domestic and international travel. International airports of San Jose and Guanacaste were impacted. At least 44 flights at Juan Santa Maria were affected. Both international airports later confirmed on social media that operations had resumed after the radar system was restored. Transportation Minister said that an investigation would be launched to prevent similar such incidents in the future. Onto the Oceania region now. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese promoted his government's world-first teen social media ban at an event in New York, warning that the challenges posed by social media for children were constantly evolving. Governments and tech firms are closely watching Australia's effort to become the first country to block the use of social media by those younger than 16, starting from December. Australia wants social media firms to use artificial intelligence and behavioral data to estimate the age of users and not conduct blanket age verification. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen in her speech said that she had been inspired by Australia's example. Australia's ban passed into law in November 2024 and aims to delay teens' ability to set up social media accounts from the current age of 13 until the age of 16. Albanese's centre-left government proposed the law, citing research showing harms to mental health from the overuse of social media among young teens, including misinformation, bullying and harmful depictions of body image. Leaders have unveiled new targets to cut planet heating pollution at the United Nations in a bid to spur fresh impetus to the beleaguered climate effort. A total of 120 countries and the European Union announced new goals to reduce greenhouse gas emissions at the Climate Leaders Summit in New York on Wednesday. The pledges most notably include one from China, the world's leading emitter, which said that it would cut emissions by 7 to 10% from its peak level by 2035. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, convened the special summit for the new goals and urged countries, most of which are badly lagging in efforts to avoid breaching agreed temperature limits, to enact much faster cuts. He said that the upcoming UN climate talks in Brazil, known as COP30, must produce a credible global response plan to get us all back on track.
We need new plans for 2035 that go much further and much faster, delivering dramatic emissions cuts aligned with 1.5 degrees, covering all emissions and sectors, and accelerating a just energy transition globally. China met its 2030 wind and solar target 6 years ahead of schedule. India reached 50% electricity capacity from non-fossil fuels 5 years early. We are in the dawn of a new energy era. We must seize this moment of opportunity. COP30 in Brazil must conclude with a credible global response plan to get us on track.
Typhoon Ragasa, the world's most powerful tropical cyclone this year, struck the southern Chinese city of Yangjiang on Wednesday after killing 17 people in Taiwan and lashing Hong Kong with ferocious winds and heavy rains. The typhoon was tracking towards Maoming, one of China's biggest oil refining cities in Guangdong province. Weather experts say most powerful typhoons are likely to hit southern China due to climate change after a summer of record-breaking rainfall. Hong Kong resumed flights out of its international airports on Thursday after a 36-hour suspension, reopening businesses. Cleaning up efforts were also underway in Taiwan's Guangfu after Super Typhoon Ragasa's outer bands brought heavy rain to Hualien County. And next we take a look at other stories making news around the world. The 2026 Guinness World Records has showcased unusual and remarkable achievements from around the world. The book features records for the tallest and longest limbed animals, fastest movement over short distances, creative vehicles, and human feats in gymnastics, strength and endurance. The new edition was announced on Thursday. In Turkey's Gaziantep's Karmasis ancient city, archaeologists have uncovered Hittite-era water tunnels that once carried water from the Euphrates to royal palaces. Excavations ongoing for 14 years also revealed artifacts including a 4,000-year-old game board, seals and animal figurines. Work at the site is expected to continue until December. London's historic Regent Sounds guitar store has reopened after a major revamp. The Denmark Street shop, which itself has long been nicknamed Tin Pan Alley and known for its guitar and musical instruments, is now 4 times bigger, featuring a vintage lounge with rare guitars along with soundproof booths for music fans. The Autumn Green Days Fair is underway at Mongolia's Ulaanbaatar Central Stadium, bringing residents affordable seasonal produce directly from Mongolia's farms. The long-standing tradition helps families stock up for winter, with farmers offering vegetables, dairy, smoked fish, beverages and more. This fair runs until September 28th. And in news just coming in, drone sighting shuts down Denmark's Aalborg airport 2 days after the Copenhagen incursion. Denmark's Aalborg airport, used for commercial and military flights, was closed due to drones in its airspace, police said early on Thursday, 2 days after the country's main Copenhagen airport was shut over drone sightings that raised European security concerns. Danish National Police said that the drones followed a similar pattern to the ones that had halted flights at Copenhagen airport for 4 hours a few days earlier. Local police later said that the drones had left the Aalborg area after about 3 hours. Denmark said on Tuesday that the incident at Copenhagen airport was the most serious attack yet on its critical infrastructure and linked it to a series of suspected Russian drone incursions and other disruptions across Europe. The closure of Aalborg airport, Denmark's armed the closure of the Aalborg airport also affected Denmark's armed forces because it is used as a military base, police added. So the Danish armed forces said that they were assisting local and national police with the investigation but declined to comment further. So Denmark's Aalborg airport has been shut after multiple drones have been spotted there. Authorities in Norway have also shut the airspace at Oslo airport for 3 hours on Monday evening after a drone was seen. European Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen said on Tuesday that the drones that halted flights at Copenhagen airport were part of a pattern of persistent contestation at their borders. Now, Kremlin denies role in these drone flights that disrupted airports in both Denmark and Copenhagen. So Denmark's Aalborg airport has been shut after multiple drones have been spotted. Earlier, Poland, Estonia, Norway have claimed that Russian jets, fighter jets, have violated their airspace, and what we are seeing here, drone sightings at the Aalborg airport of Denmark. We are slipping into a short breather here on DD India NewsHour. A lot more is lined on the other side. Stay tuned.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Here are our top stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the UP International Trade Show 2025. The government's resolve of Make in India and Vocal for Local set to gain new momentum. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov says Europe and Ukraine especially are prolonging the conflict. In a meeting with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the UNGA, Rubio reiterates Moscow must take meaningful steps towards durable resolution. One detainee killed, 2 injured in sniper attack on US immigration facility. Trump accuses radical left of inciting violence against immigration officers. And in sports, India storms into Asia Cup final unbeaten. Defending champions will face the winner of Thursday's clash between Pakistan and Bangladesh. Next news from India. The Ministry of Home Affairs on Wednesday said that the mob violence in the northern UT of Ladakh was allegedly incited by activist Sonam Wangchuk, further accusing him of misleading the people through provocative mention of the Arab Spring-style protests and references to the recent Gen Z protests in Nepal. It said the mob was incited by his statements while on a hunger strike demanding statehood and constitutional safeguards for the Union Territory. It also added that the government stands committed to the aspiration of the people of Ladakh by providing adequate constitutional safeguards, while requesting people not to circulate the old and provocative videos in media and social media. The Ministry of Home Affairs also said that the next meeting of the high-powered committee has been scheduled for October 6th, while meetings are also planned on September 25th and 26th with leaders from Ladakh. The Home Ministry further added that Wangchuk started his hunger strike on September 10th, demanding inclusion of Ladakh in the 6th schedule of the Constitution and granting it statehood. It said it is well known that the Union government has been actively engaged with the apex body Leh and Kargil Democratic Alliance on the same issues. A series of meetings were held with them through the formal channel of the high-powered committee, as well as subcommittee and multiple informal meetings with leaders. The Government of India has approved the extension of General Anil Chauhan's tenure as the Chief of Defence Staff and Secretary of Department of Military Affairs until 30th of May next year, until further orders. Commissioned in 1981, General Chauhan has held key command and staff appointments and has been serving as the Chief of Defence Staff since 30th September 2022. He is a recipient of prestigious honours. General Chauhan succeeded the late General Bipin Rawat, the inaugural CDS, who tragically died in a helicopter crash in December 2021. Notably, both officers hail from Pauri Garhwal in Uttarakhand. India, the world's largest democracy and a land rooted in truth, has witnessed a remarkable cultural renaissance over the past decade. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the nation has experienced a true revival of its heritage, with ancient traditions and sacred sites restored to new glory. We have a report.
India, cradle of world's oldest civilization and the mother of democracy, the land of truth, non-violence and peace, a nation that has nurtured countless faiths and traditions in harmony. A new chapter in this cultural renaissance began in 2014 when Prime Minister Narendra Modi took charge at the centre. Since then, the world has witnessed the rise of a new India. After centuries of colonial rule ended in 1947, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for shedding the mindset of slavery from the Red Fort. The journey of reclaiming India's civilizational pride began in 2014. It marked a turning point in independent India's history when cultural nationalism found renewed expression. This was the era when the centuries-old dream of a grand Ram temple at Ayodhya came true. Countless pilgrim centers across the country were revived with dignity and splendor. Guided by the vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas, the goal has been to leave behind the scars of slavery and build a confident new India. Like Queen Ahilyabai Holkar once restored temples across India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expanded and revitalized numerous pilgrim sites. The reconstruction of Kedarnath Dham and the restoration of Adi Shankaracharya Samadhi stand as shining examples. The Kashi Vishwanath corridor in Varanasi has transformed the temple precincts, linking the shrine with Ganga after centuries. Similarly, the Mahakal Lok corridor in Ujjain has given an awe-inspiring form to the old-age vision of Satyam Shivam Sundaram. In the past 11 years, cultural heritage sites across the country have been redeveloped. The Kamakhya temple in Assam now offers improved infrastructure and facilities for pilgrims. The historic Somnath temple has seen new development, including the Parvati temple. The Char Dham project has upgraded highways connecting Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath, making pilgrimages safer and smoother while also boosting tourism. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Kutch to Kamakhya, sacred sites have been revived and put on global pilgrimage map. The Buddhist circuit too has been developed. In Shravasti, Kushinagar and Kapilvastu in Uttar Pradesh, Bodh Gaya in Bihar and sites in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Sikh heritage also found new strength with the Gobind Ghat Hemkund Sahib Ji ropeway project in Uttarakhand. The inauguration of the Kartarpur corridor in 2019 fulfilled a long-cherished wish of Sikh pilgrims to visit Gurudwara Darbar Sahib. The government also began observing Veer Bal Divas every year on 26th of December to honor the sacrifice of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's sons. India has also set global benchmarks in preserving culture and literature. In 2024, 3 classics, Ramcharitramanas, Panchtantra and Sahridalok, were inscribed in UNESCO's Memory of the World Asia-Pacific Register. The Bhagavad Gita and Bharat Natya Shastra too were added to UNESCO's Global Register. India's civilizational pride was also revived with the inauguration of New Nalanda University campus in Bihar. The past 11 years have marked a cultural renaissance in India. With just a decade, the nation has taken giant leaps in varied sectors and presents its cultural and civilizational essence to the world.
In 2014, another bold vision was set into motion, Make in India, a slogan that evolved into one of the most transformative economic movements in the country's history. 11 years later, it has become a blueprint for industrial resurgence, national pride and global ambition. A movement that's not just building factories, but building futures. More in our next report.
The Make in India initiative, launched in 2014, has been a cornerstone of India's push towards Atmanirbharta, or self-reliance. What started as a slogan became a full-spectrum strategy that's reshaped India's industrial landscape. While industry played its part, the government's massive capex has given industry the confidence to also invest big in India.
The bullet train is coming up between Mumbai and Ahmedabad, the precursor to many more bullet trains and high-speed rails coming up in the country. DFC is operational, both the northern one and the western one, precursor to hopefully more DFCs coming up in other regions. It's a race to make India a $32 trillion economy.
India attracted $667.4 billion in FDI from 2014 to 2024, a 119% increase over the previous decade. Manufacturing FDI alone surged 69%, reaching $165.1 billion, energizing sectors like electronics, automotive, and textiles.
आज आपने कई बार टेलीकॉम टावर के ऊपर बड़े बड़े रेडियो, व्हाइट कलर के जो बड़े से रेडियो नहीं होते लंबे से इस तरह से, बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स मशीन है. 40 कंट्रीज को एक्सपोर्ट हो रहा है. यूरोप जैसे, अमेरिका जैसे समृद्ध देशों को भारत में बने हुए टेलीकॉम इक्विपमेंट आज एक्सपोर्ट हो रहे हैं.
Make in India isn't just about factories. It's about empowering youth, reviving neglected regions, and reclaiming India's industrial legacy. From chips to ships, the Prime Minister's vision is laying the groundwork for a future where India plays a leading role in global supply chains. It is Make in India, Make for the World.
Countries like Australia and India that have complementary interests, because Australia is not going to be a massive producer of batteries. However, we have aspirations to be a massive producer of lithium carbonate and lithium hydroxide, which can come to India, and if India develops its cathode active material processing, then India can value add, and we can sort of meet in the middle on that supply chain and go very quickly to global scale.
Launched in 2020, PLI schemes spurred 1.3 lakh crore rupees in investment, 10.9 lakh crore rupees in output, and over 8.5 lakh jobs. Semicon India is building a full-stack chip ecosystem. PM Modi's Swadeshi push and GST reforms boosted demand for Indian goods, tying self-reliance to national pride. Make in India didn't just make goods, it made good India's potential. Bureau Report, DD India.
Ayurveda has travelled from Indian households to international platforms. Let's take you to a special session from New Zealand commemorating the world's oldest system of holistic healing that continues to take global wellness pathways abroad.
From ancient Sanskrit texts to global wellness centers, Ayurveda's journey reflects India's holistic living gift to the world. Wellington celebrates the 10th anniversary of the ancient art. Let's take a look. It is rightly said, the body is your temple. Keep it pure and clean for the soul to reside in. And what better way to do it if not via Ayurveda? The session had insightful discussions on 5 sheaths of the body, chakras in a pranic body, and the fundamentals of an ideal dincharya.
Energy of the universe, and it's a very mind-blowing experience to experience life on that scale.
New and since ages, primitive cultures have used this wisdom to heal. Colonialism and a change in global mindset has impacted these knowledge systems and cast a shadow of skepticism in them.
So Kavita, Ayurveda has traveled from India to, the farthest corners of the world. What do you think makes Ayurveda so important in today's day and age?
It has passed, it's a 5,000 years old wisdom of Vedas, which has passed so long without being disturbed by any kind of modern lifestyle or modern practices. So I think in the current world, what is needed most is the wisdom of Ayurveda to improve your life.
So definitely Ayurveda is India's gift to the world. And how do you think Ayurveda, found its universal charm and appeal everywhere around the world?
Ayurveda, actually, when I came over here, around the world, I have seen that because it comes from India, there is less, it is sadly the Indian population think that they know everything about it. Most of them are not aware about anything, as you today in the presentation, which we came to know that a lot of people are not aware about a lot of things. But I had seen a lot of interest from the Western population, European population, and the third or the fourth generation of the Indian population. And what surprised me that they had more intrinsic knowledge and really keen to make changes in their lifestyle and diet and routines and follow Ayurveda as a whole whole way.
As Ayurveda finds new grounds across the globe, its essence remains rooted in balance and harmony. This is Soumya Sharma from Wellington for DD India.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. Time now for another short break. A lot more on the other side. Stay with us.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. On to some business news now. US stocks closed lower for a second straight session on Wednesday as Wall Street digested mixed messaging from the Fed officials on interest rates and ahead of a reading on inflation later in the week. So the S&P 500 slid 0.3%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined by about 0.4%. The Nasdaq Composite Index dropped 0.3%. The declines marked a reversal from the indices' earlier gains. Debate over the prospects for US interest rate cuts, the big focus for markets right now, appeared to pressure stocks. Fed Chair Jerome Powell had struck a cautious tone about further rate cuts on Tuesday after the central bank delivered the first easing this year just last week. While Asian shares took a breather from their recent rally on Thursday as investors positioned for month and quarter-end flows, while the Japanese yen tested fresh lows against the euro and a surging Swiss franc. And on to the global energy market now. Oil prices slipped after surging over 2% overnight to 7-week peaks as a surprise drop in US crude inventories added to supply worries amid export issues in Iraq, Venezuela and Russia. Smartphone exports are surging, not slowing. The India Cellular and Electronics Association debunked claims of a decline, revealing a 39% jump in August alone. Exports to the US more than doubled. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya reports.
India's smartphone exports are rising, not falling. The India Cellular and Electronics Association has countered misleading claims about an export slowdown, setting the record straight with hard numbers. In August 2025, smartphone exports jumped 39% year-on-year from $1.09 billion to $1.53 billion. Smartphone exports to the US in the first 5 months of financial year 2026 reached $8.43 billion compared to $2.88 billion during the same period in financial year 2025, a 193% increase. In fact, the US figure for April-August 2025 has already reached nearly 80% of the entire fiscal year 2025. US exports total of $10.56 billion. Overall, in the first 5 months of fiscal year 2026, India exported smartphones worth 1 lakh crore rupees, about $11.7 billion, a record-breaking 55% rise. Experts caution against drawing month-to-month conclusions. August and September are traditionally lean months as factories retool for new launches and domestic demand peaks during the festive season. Exports usually bounce back sharply in October and November. Driven by the government's PLI scheme, smartphones have become India's best-performing export sector, climbing from 167th place a decade ago to the country's top export today. Far from a slowdown, the data shows India's smartphone exports are powering ahead, reinforcing the country's position as a global manufacturing hub. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
You're with us on DD India NewsHour. Time now for some sporting action. India has stormed into the Asia Cup final in style with a convincing win over Bangladesh. The men in blue restricted Bangladesh to 127 while defending a total of 168 and will now lock horns for the final showdown on September 28th. India posted a competitive 168 powered by opener Abhishek Sharma's explosive 75-run knock. The bowling attack led by Kuldeep Yadav's 3 wickets for just 18 runs tore through Bangladesh's lineup, rendering Saif Hassan's valiant 69-run innings in vain. With this win, the men in blue march into the final on September 28th, carrying strong momentum and high hopes. The final contender against India is yet to be decided as the 2-horse race for the finals remains open between Pakistan and Bangladesh. The mini auction of Hockey India League 2026 concluded successfully in closed-door session in New Delhi. It saw plenty of action, surprises and some record-breaking signings. Over 100 men players went under the hammer, with franchises making bold and strategic moves to secure talent for the upcoming season. The biggest buy of the day was Australia's Liam Henderson, who went to Vedanta Kalinga Lancers for a massive 42 lakhs, making him the most expensive player among the Indian players. The 18-year-old Vivek Lakra made headlines for being the costliest India player after being snapped up by Bengal Tigers for a huge 24 lakhs despite starting at just 2 lakhs. Today is the 4th day of Navratri, and this vibrant festival is being celebrated across India in unique ways, with devotees visiting temples and enjoying colourful, innovative goddess Durga pandals. Take a look. That's all for this edition of DD India NewsHour. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.